once in a while I do get patients who come and see me complaining of flatulence, or flatulence in the sense that they are passing wind from the bottom, also known as farting. Yeah. So I think the biggest concern is that it's a social form of, it's embarrassment socially, okay, and less problems with the smell, although it could smell like rotten eggs at times. And the first thing that I always tell them is that this is usually not a sign or not a known as or established sign of any disease in the digestive tract. It is not usually a sign of cancer. If there are no other problems with the bowels, you're passing motion regularly, there's no blood in the stools, there's no change in the bowel habits, there's no constipation, there's no diarrhea, then what's happening is that this is just gas that is being produced in our intestines. Now, this gas has got nothing to do with gassy drinks. Okay? When we drink gassy carbonated drinks, it's actually carbon dioxide. By the time the drink reaches our small intestines, the carbon dioxide is all absorbed, and then we exhale the carbon dioxide. It doesn't go down into our intestines and come out as gas from the bottom. So where is this gas coming from? This gas is coming from the bacteria, from fermentation of the food that we eat. So when we eat food, some of it is not digested. Some of the fibers are not digested. Some of the sugars are not digested. And it goes down into our big intestine. And that eventually forms what we call the feces or the motion that we pass. And there's always bacteria in our digestive tract. And the highest count of bacterial load is actually in our big intestine, the colon. When you mix the colon together with food, they produce gas because there's digestion going on. Not our body digesting the food, but the bacteria in our body is digesting the food. So when you pass motion and you allow the motion to sit in the toilet bowl, and if you leave it long enough and you actually look at it, interestingly, you will see bubbles coming out from it. And it's these bubbles that actually forms the gas. There are various types of gas that are being produced. You have hydrogen sulfide, which smells like rotten eggs. You've got methane, you got hydrogen gas as well coming out. So depending on the food that you eat and the kind of bacteria, some gases will smell worse than others. So some people will have farts or flatulence that unfortunately has a stronger odor than other people because of the mix of the bacteria in the body. And unfortunately, there is no way we can change this other than to try and give some probiotics. Now, there are certain foods that we have studied and we know tend to produce more gas. So if someone has got complaints of a lot of flatulence, which sometimes comes with pain and bloating because they have a lot of gas production, then we should advise them to reduce the intake of dairy products. Okay, so all dairy products, cheese, yogurt, milk should be avoided. These are high foods that cause flatulence. Things like beans can cause a lot of flatulence. Things, for instance, like cabbage and onions are also known to produce a lot of flatulence. So these are the foods that we usually want to avoid in someone who has complaints of flatulence, and that can help to reduce their symptoms. However, one should know that an average person is expected to pass wind about 20 times in a day. So there are some people who perceive this discharge of wind as being excessive, but when you ask them to count, it's actually no different from another person who is less anxious and actually passes the same amount of wind. So to summarize, one should not be overtly disturbed by farting or flatulence. If it is a problem, then changes to the diet can usually help. Some people believe that by taking a lot of probiotics, it can also help to change and modify the bacteria in the GI tract, and that can reduce the amount of flatulence as well.